Hey everybody, St. Paul Peterson here, and welcome to another episode of Music on the Run. And let's get right to it. My guests today are brothers, and they've been making music together their entire lives. And together they share a singular body of work that's found them spending more than 20 years of working the road and paying their dues, resulting in 8 records. When they're not making music together, they have ridiculously successful careers on their own. And please, without further ado, welcome Michael and Kevin Bacon. Fellas.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
How are you?
Good.
Thanks
good.
for coming, man.
Nice
I was at your concert last night. It was great, man.
Thank you.
Not that I should be surprised or anything like that, but you guys are great musicians.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. So musical brothers, I know a little bit about that.
Uh-huh.
My family is all musical. How does that work out with you guys? Is that that's got to be interesting, trying, and beautiful all at the same time?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good description. I mean, you know, Michael's 9 years older than me. We grew up in Philadelphia.
Right.
The six kids in a little house in row house in Philly, and well, it wasn't all that little, but when you put 6 of us in it, it was pretty.
It was
right.
5 stories, but I think it was only 15 feet wide.
Yeah,
So
15 feet. Yeah, it's really, really narrow.
Kind of the old lady in the shoe kind of.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to describe it. Right, and in my case, my mother was kind of an old lady by the time I was born.
Mine too, actually. You're
really?
the youngest.
I'm the youngest.
I'm the
yeah.
youngest.
You're the youngest?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know a little
now
bit
I
about
got
being
it.
a little brother.
Yeah. And you know, Michael was kind of always a musician, so I grew up listening to him, writing songs, playing in bands, practicing. I think our mother, although I've never really had this confirmed, I think our mother was very, very adamant that you become a musician, right? Do you think she was really instrumental in that or not so much?
Definitely instrumental just because she got me a cello and a teacher when I was, I think, about 5.
Right.
And that was a formative experience because I can remember when the cello came into our house, what room it was, what the lacquer smelled like.
All right.
And since that time, musical instruments have always been completely magical. So to be here today, I'm just like a kid.
I want to touch them all.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, but I don't think our parents ever really wanted to point us any particular direction. Maybe our dad a little bit. I know that when I dropped out of college, I was a fraternity guy in Weegens and the Khakis, and then all of a sudden went into a hippie band, and a total life change. And my father was really disappointed until the band started to become successful. I think that they both wanted success for us.
Of course, don't all parents?
Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that they would bring a cello into the house. Was that more of a, since they weren't musicians proper, correct?
No.
Not even improper.
Okay, so
they definitely weren't musicians.
So they bring the cello into the house just for exploration, for a cultural reason. Why the cello?
I think because they love music. And they saw that I maybe had an aptitude for it and an interest in the instruments. I think I actually played a C sax before that. I had a lesson with this beautiful teenage girl, and somehow in my lesson, her thumb got caught in a drawer.
What?
Yes.
I gotta write another song.
And it just was kind of traumatic, and that was the end of the C sax. So
Wow.
then when the cello came in, it had that seed already planted. And the thing that's interesting, especially looking at your place here, is our dad was trained as an architect. He became a city planner. So our house on Locust Street, the whole downstairs, he took out all the walls, and he built in basically a hi-fi system with a 18-inch Jensen speaker, Altec Lansing horn. So the whole first floor of our house was really a gigantic
So
speaker.
they loved music.
They loved
They
music.
just didn't play
No.
necessarily.
Our mom played a little bit of Mando, but that's really all I really remember her playing. And our father, we often like to say that when he would sing us lullabies, we would pretend to be asleep.
So we'd be finished. Thank you, Dad.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
What about your brothers and sisters? Were there, the rest of them? You're 6, is that right?
6, yeah.
And
Four girls,
Four girls,
two of
and
us.
2 of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
they-
Our older sister Hilda was a singer in the kind of like Joni Mitchell, Judy Collins vein.
cool.
She had long, beautiful, teenage girl with long blonde hair and
Right.
sang. What's it called? Raggle Taggle Gypsies or something like that.
Yeah, folk song, like
Folk
kind
songs, yeah.
of Peter,
Okay.
Paul, and Mary,
Yeah.
Brothers Four, Kingston Trio, that kind of thing.
And
Okay.
Michael had a band with her that I remember them practicing in our basement. And I must have been, I don't know, how old were you when you
I
had
was
the
probably
jug band?
15, so do the math.
Yeah,
You were
so
6.
15. So I was 6, and they were a jug band.
No
with
kidding.
a,
you weren't playing rock and roll or any hippie music or anything like that. Yeah, you're.
No, I was into folk music mostly.
Okay.
And it was really strange because our sister Hilda, that Kevin just described, what we would do is we would get these old Folkways records of these Southern African American jug bands, and they were jug bands because they couldn't afford a saxophone. They had
Sure.
a comb, and the Jim Kweskin jug band, which really I was just idolized those guys, was big, and so we'd find these old Folkways records and we'd find songs to do, and our mother would hear the songs coming up from the basement. And if they were too suggestive, she would not let my sister, we had this one song, it was great. I mean, we could have been superstars. 38 Slug, it was called.
Yeah, and
Mama caught a 38 slug. And when my mother heard that, no.
She put the
38.
kibosh on that one,
That was
huh?
the end of that one. That was the end of our career.
oh man, so there was music around the house. Your sisters, you were playing. I know as a little brother that when that's happening, you idolize, or at least I'm sure you do as well. You idolize your brothers, and you're like, what are they doing? And what are you listening to? And maybe I want a piece of that. No, I want to be into that. So that trickle-down theory from the parents and your brothers and sisters, that had to have a profound effect on you, Kevin.
Yeah, it did. I really, from a very young age, before I even knew what an actor was, I knew that I wanted to be an actor because I wanted to be the center of attention. I wanted to enter a room and have people look at me.
That's our job, though, isn't it?
Well, it is
As
my
little
job.
brothers. Oh, it's your job for real now.
Oh, yeah. No. As a little brother, yeah. I mean, I guess that's part of it. I don't know if, nature, nurture, it's hard to really put your finger on that, but
But you knew right away.
I knew
Okay.
I knew right away
Interesting.
that I wanted to be somehow rich, famous, get girls.
In that order.
No, not necessarily
Reverse
in that
order.
order. I'd say, yeah, reverse order. Reverse order.
Okay.
And so how to do that? And for a short time, I was kind of thinking it could be rock and roll, because it was back then. There was a certain kind of pop star. If you look at David Cassidy, the Monkees, Bobby Sherman,
Yep.
Jack Wilde from England. These guys were kind of singers and kind of actors. You know what I mean? They sort of went in the
Right.
and that was kind of what I was aspiring to at that point.
Right.
And and then I realized that really becoming a musician was a giant pain in the ass because you really had to practice a lot. And my brother was really good at practicing. He would practice all the time. And
That wasn't for you.
it wasn't for me, no. I mean, I got a drum kit, and I played it a lot in the basement. I never took lessons. I started to play around on a guitar. I really liked the conga drums, and so I did a lot of that. I was really into Santana kind of stuff. Played in a band, shockingly called Footloose.
Before or after the movie?
Way before, like
how
10
weird
years,
is that?
15 years before.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, but really, Michael was the musician, and I think my mom, I felt, sort of didn't want me to encroach
Everybody,
on
St. Paul here. It's a chilly day for a run, about -5. But hey, if you like that video that you've been watching and you want to see more of it, here's what you got to do. Go to Patreon patreon.com/Music on the Run podcast, and you can see the whole thing. Again, patreon.com/Music on the Run podcast. Then you can see the entire video. Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.